wondering at the women whose bodies were flayed and fragmented in the name of science. There are 13 uteruses, fewer than the testes around the corner, I note, some bloated with fibroids and cancers, and one with the slim white snake of a contraceptive coil still nestled in its flesh. A disembodied vulva still bears a tuft of startlingly bright ginger hair. A signal flare from the past, its meaning lost. There are no names, no personal details given apart from the briefest of diagnoses printed on cards. These organs, the seats of human life, are unsettlingly inert. The accompanying descriptions do not indicate which of these wombs have borne children, although, given the fact that most of the specimens were harvested a good 100 years ago, before the advent of reliable contraception, there's every chance that almost all of them did. As if to underline this function, or perhaps to compensate for the relative paucity of the exhibit, an 18th century obstetrical chair with stiff, varnished struts has been placed in the corner. The base, a card explains helpfully, can be anchored to the floor, as if the birthing woman is so volcanically powerful, or perhaps so dangerous, that she must be tethered to the earth, lest the force of her labor shoot her into orbit like a rocket. As a midwife, I've borne witness to this power many times, women transformed into raging demons, their bodies racked by each contraction of the uterus, their eyes on fire. These wombs suspended in formaldehyde are long dead, though, and silent. They hold their secrets quiet and close. Two young women interrupt my reverie. Passing through obs and gynae, they shiver and recoil at the organs on display. "Go uterus," deadpans one of the women to her friend, as they grimace at the disembodied wombs and hurry to the next room, otolaryngology, taking time to admire the ears and noses, and then lingering over the apparently less offensive infant limbs in the room beyond. Something about the wombs sitting silently in their jars has been too much, too close for these women. Scarier than the relics of the battlefield, more repugnant than diseased bowels and bladders. Sometimes it's easier not to see, not to know. Mapping the body can unsettle as much as it empowers. Awareness begets questions with uncomfortable answers. In this book, though, among these pages, we are made of sterner stuff, and we journey with an open mind. We are ready to understand the uterus and to find out where we all began. We stop. We linger. We learn what's inside the jar. A normal uterus, and I use the word normal advisedly, is roughly 7 centimeters tall by 5 centimeters wide, with walls about 2.5 centimeters thick. The organ is sometimes said to resemble an upside-down pear, although in the final stages of pregnancy a uterus can expand to the size of a watermelon. The female reproductive system is often described in culinary terms: a womb like a pear, ovaries like almonds, a fetus like a plum or a tangerine, perhaps to render the parts sweetly benign, tender morsels of sugar and spice and all things nice. This, after all, is a truth sung to us in rhyme from our earliest days and repeated by society ad nauseum, that girls are delicious and there for the tasting. From this point on, though, this book will eschew all food metaphors. We will learn that the uterus is far more than a sweetmeat or an empty vessel. We are learning now that the womb is a muscle. We can compare it quite accurately to a clenched fist, not only in size but in power. In fact, the uterus is remarkably similar in size and structure to another far more celebrated organ, the heart. Like the heart, it's comprised of 3 layers. In this case, there is the endometrium, an inner layer which thickens and sloughs off each month as a menstrual period, and which nourishes both embryo and placenta in pregnancy. The myometrium, a smooth muscle layer formed of tightly woven fibers that can flex and relax, causing cramps or contractions. And the outer perimetrium, a filmy visceral cover. On either side of the uterus are slender tubes leading to the ovaries where eggs are stored, and at the bottom or neck of the uterus is the cervix, a kind of fleshy gateway to the vagina. This is the diagram which many of us were forced to draw and label at school, although that knack seems to fade as we get older. According to